All right, well, welcome to our focus group, everyone. Thank you so much for volunteering to be here. It really means a lot to us that you took your time out of your night to be here and help us out with the school project. So our focus group is going to be based around your opinions on the NFL, National Football League, for any of you that aren't aware. You don't have to be a viewer of it or anything. We just want your opinions to use this data to try and help the NFL get some more viewers. So I'm going to start us off with an icebreaker. I want all of you, we have some colored markers here, and you're going to take this, fold it halfway, this way or this way, however you want. It's going to have your name on it, and then anything that you think about when you hear about the NFL. You can draw it, you can write words, any way that you want to do this. Just want to pass them around. It's easier. So then you can put it in front of you and it'll have your name on it, and then some images, and we'll go over it. And feel free to help yourself to snacks while we're doing this. And if you need the restroom now, would be a good time to do that also.
So we need to just write lots of different words that we think of when we think of the NFL.
Whatever, yeah. Words, images, pictures, anything you want to write.
Do it like this.
You can fold it halfway either way that you want. Whatever allows you to be your most authentic self.
Is there like a minimum number of words?
No. Whatever you think of and want to write down. Does everyone have a piece of paper?
Yeah, just put your name on the front.
That's okay. Whatever you think of when you think of the NFL. Yeah, along with your name. Big enough that I can read it.
Don't be tough like I want.
Put a question mark, 'cause I don't even know.
For fun. But it's multiple items?
Yeah, whatever you want to put. You can draw something, you can write words, anything. Does anybody want a drink while I'm getting them?
I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here you go. Alright, you want to start finishing them up, add your last touches.
Right, this one I was expecting you to drop one first.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna go around the room. We'll start with you. Just say your name and then anything that you wrote down, and maybe why you wrote it.
Tamika, and I would have put a question mark. I don't really watch football.
Okay.
I mean, high school football because my son played, but that's it.
Okay.
My name is Kim, and I wrote handsome, strong men. Super Bowl parties, Tom Brady, the silent protest, during the national anthem.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm Sam. I put Pittsburgh Steelers, national anthem, and Tom Brady.
Okay.
I'm Tyler, and I drew Evan for obvious reasons.
My name's Abraham. I wrote Dilly Dilly, Super Bowl commercials, Patriots, and football.
Awesome.
Zachary Hudson. I wrote football, Super Bowl, player contract, Steelers, and kneeling.
Okay.
David Roy. I wrote Super Bowl, concussions, Tampa Bay Bucks, touchdown, field goal, and Ray Rice.
Cindy, I wrote concussion, OSHA, race-based injury, profit over humanity, brutality, money, stadium, litigation, compensation, and I drew a picture of a brain injury and wrote Alzheimer's, dementia, post-mortem findings.
Wow. Sounds
What I
good.
said.
I've been passionate about this.
My name is Ada. I wrote Tom Brady, New England Patriots, Deflategate, Boring, Seahawks, Peyton Eli Manning.
My name's Richard, and I said it was risky. She summed it up for me.
In a lot more words.
Yeah, exactly.
My name is Damaris, and I wrote football, sweat, big crowd, stadium, boys, they're not men. Cheering, Clay Matthews, because I know Nicole's a huge fan. At number 1, and pumping.
Okay.
I'm Zach. I wrote Jack's Jaguars. I drew a little person with a backwards knee because of his leg injury. I wrote the word injury, Drew Brees, and Big Bucks.
Okay. So if you guys can try to like tent them in my direction so I can know your name. Also, we have plenty of room down here if you need to push food. I'm happy for the food to come near me.
We got the other.
All right, so our goal is for this to be a conversation. We just want your true opinions. I don't care if you think what you're saying has a negative connotation. We just want what you actually think. And it sounds like you guys have some great stuff that you would like to talk about. So we're gonna get into it. This little exercise is going to be a split second. I'm gonna say the word and then you're gonna tell me exactly what you think about. So the first word that comes to your mind when you hear, and you're just gonna yell it out, when you hear NFL.
Injury.
Green ball fields.
Football.
Super Bowl.
Okay, cool. So I want you to go around, whoever wants to speak, and tell me how you would describe your image of the NFL. Anyone?
Money.
Money?
Crowds.
Concession sales. You know.
Entertainment.
Various scandals.
Scandals. Anybody want to get more in depth on sort of how they've come up with these images, what's influenced them?
Drugs.
Drugs. What makes you say that?
Most of them do it, and you know, they kind of hide it a little bit, and then when it does come out, it's frowned upon, but then young kids look at it like it's cool.
Okay. So you don't like that?
No.
Okay. Awesome. So anybody else, your image on the NFL and how you got that image?
Go ahead.
The people who are playing the sport and how any other profession, any other job, occupation on earth that had the percentage of injury, brain injury in the workplace would be shut down by OSHA in a matter of seconds.
But how many people make millions of dollars
Exactly.
for
But-
16 games in the season?
And that's my profit over humanity. I mean, please.
But I mean, they're signing up for this.
I'd let you hit me with a baseball bat for $1 million.
And you know what? I think part of the problem is these people are going into this, they are young men who may or may not be educated, who may or may not think that there's anything else they can do other than this. And so they don't fully first off, comprehend the risk. I mean, a brain injury is very serious, and we see years down the road, and in every postpartum but one on football players at the NFL level have found evidence of brain injury, Alzheimer's, dementia. I mean, you might think that you would let me hit you with the baseball bat, but if it meant that 20 years from now you couldn't identify your children, you might rethink that. But at a young age, they're not thinking like that. And so I think we're taking advantage of these young men.
I think I have 3 boys and they all play football. I think they understand because they start off at such a young age. It's not like okay, well, when we start, most of them start off with Pee Wee football.
Absolutely.
And do have kind of an understanding of the risk of playing. And a lot of them go on to, pursue their career in the NFL. And then later on, find out. I mean, I know now they're doing more things to try to prevent that. But, I mean, in high school and Pee Wee football, if you get hit, they take that really serious. I mean, they will take your kid out of the game, and you can't return until you have a doctor's note saying that you're okay. That's my opinion.
But I think it has everything to do with the crowd that watches the sport. Like, I don't care for football. Maybe all of these people wouldn't go through that if the audience wouldn't promote that. And the only reason why football is so big is because the audience is so big. Without the audience, there's no football. So.
Okay. So I would like to know if you guys currently watch NFL, have watched it in the past, or have never really been a fan. And then I'll do a follow-up question with that. So if we want to go around the room.
I have followed the NFL for most of my life, besides the last 4 or 5 years.
So you said you used to watch it, and in the last 4 or 5 years you haven't watched it. So what would be some reasons why you haven't been watching it?
Just, you always see there's some NFL player on any given team mixed up in maybe like a violent crime or, like a domestic violence, type deal. And, one individual is one thing, but then it just kept, you would see new people getting accused of these things, every couple of weeks. It was a new person, and it just kind of lost interest. I didn't really want to support that, and it doesn't really seem like they're doing enough to, prevent that or deal with it, really at all.
Okay. How about you? Do you watch?
I don't watch, really. I mean, I've seen here or there, and I've watched the Super Bowl because there are people that I know that are huge on it. Like, they wait all year, throw huge parties for the Super Bowl and stuff. And I go for the food and the drinks, but I honestly don't care.
And do you think you would ever watch? Is there ever anything that we could do that would make you want to watch?
Maybe if it wasn't to me, I don't really like sports, so I think it'd be hard to get me to watch it. Maybe if there were less bulky clothes on, if there was more pretending, but
okay.
I don't think so.
I never really liked football, like viewing it, but I liked playing it a lot growing up. I think the thing that bothers me the most is you always read those like infographics, and there's like, was it 6 minutes of playtime in the NFL games on average? Like, it's actually like only 6 minutes of playtime. So I think maybe if you guys turn that to like 30 minutes, I'd start watching.
So then what would you want? You'd want more playtime. Where would the rest of the time go? Would it just
more
last
savagery,
longer?
more tackling, more,
Okay.
It'd be a 5-hour thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I don't watch football. I think it's boring, and also I feel like each quarter is about 15 minutes, and then why does the game go on for 4 hours?
Okay. Is there anything that would change your mind that would make you want to watch?
Party favors, so I can get through the game.
Okay.
Well, my party's hot though, so you need to go to those.
Everybody you see a football game, and when you're 18 years old, you can't really buy things. It's just when is this gonna be over? Why do my friends want to be here? And
Okay. So it's more just you're not interested in the sport?
It's just like if it went by quicker, it'd be nicer.
Okay.
It's just too long.
That's valid.
I don't watch it for all these reasons, and I am speaking with my wallet. As Damaris has pointed out, if we don't show up and buy the seat, then these young men are not going to be subjected to the brutality that will be 6 times worse under under Richard's new
They signed up.
NFL
They signed
30
up.
minutes of brutality.
Look at that.
I do agree that it is too long. I mean,
It is very long.
If it's a 1-hour game, it should be a 1-hour game, and it ends up agreeably for 4 hours. But anyway, with my wallet, I protest. I'm not watching that.
So would you say then if there were stricter safety measures put in place, then that would make you want to watch more?
If all of these issues were dealt with in a way that was acceptable to me, and humanity was put above profit, brutality was decreased, and the issues of head injuries and the results of that, all of that was addressed, then I would consider it. It's not that I hate football, because I do think it has provided for many young men an opportunity to be a part of a team and the camaraderie and strive. I mean, I see all of those as good things. And if we could do that without the head injury, then I'm in.
For me, I watched football growing up. I would say the relevance of our sports teams here in Florida just drives me away from even wanting to watch, because they're always going to lose or never be in the playoffs. So I just don't see the point of paying to watch them lose.
So you just need to move somewhere else.
Yeah, like if you go to cities like Philly or New York, I mean, football is part of life to them because their teams have always been relevant. The teams here in Florida, I mean, we had the Bucks like when I was really young, but that was it.
What keeps you from supporting a team that's not in your city? I mean, a lot of people do follow teams that aren't, they consider their team even though it's not locationally close.
I guess I was just born and raised here, so I mean, I guess I could root for a team that's on top, I just choose not to.
Yeah, I do watch football. I watched it pretty much my whole life. I like it for the same reason. Just kind of following my team. I like the Steelers. But I also like the fact that there are young kids that are actually trying to work their way up and bring their families out of the hole. You know, that's a positive thing about it. But you also have kids that abuse it the wrong way and they get into drugs and violence and stuff like that. But you also have to think about the kids that are trying to get their families, you know, out of poverty. That's a huge thing, I think. And I like to watch it.
Yeah.
I personally don't watch the NFL. More as a recent, I've been watching college football because of UCF. Because the recent last season, go Knights. It was more before that, kind of how you were saying, we'll go to the parties, have a couple drinks, have a good time. Yeah, the game's going on and everyone's there for it, but I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then go on and keep drinking whatever I'm doing. But other than that, nothing really interested me about NFL football.
Is there anything that could make you want to watch?
Maybe like if I could kind of link it to recently with UCF, how I kind of took a pride in it because I'm going to school and I see UCF's been winning. It's like, oh wow, this is awesome! Like that camaraderie, or that feeling of coming together, definitely made me more interested in watching it. Started like, learning about it and finding out, oh, so this is what this means, or that's what the fourth down means, and so you can understand the lingo. But other than that,
I don't watch the NFL, and I didn't really grow up with it, and I didn't play football in school or anything, so I never kind of got into that shit. But it's a fun kind of excuse to hang out with your friends during games, eat, drink, and all that, hang out with buddies. But I don't really know that there's anything to make me watch the game itself, just because I'm just not there.
About football, I used to play. I never miss a Pittsburgh Steelers game, so I never miss a game. I mean, I'm really into fantasy football, so
watch it with my boys at home, so watch it anymore.
You say you don't have to watch it anymore. Did you not
I mean,
enjoy watching it before?
not really. I just did it because I was the only female in the house. So it was like 4 men, and you know, so it was like that was on, and I watched it, and it was fun.
Is there anything now that would make you want to watch it other than your boys saying, "Mom, let's watch"?
No, only a Super Bowl. That's when, like she was saying, that's when everybody have their parties and that's when come home to watch it.
Okay.
I don't watch NFL. I watch high school because my son just graduated. So now I'm going to be watching college football because he's going off to college to play. But no, I used to just watch it, like she said, with my son to look at the plays. And when he say yeah, I'm like, oh, you know, whatever. That's about it.
Awesome.
I will only watch it NFL if he goes to me.
Okay.
That's it.
So then, traditionally, if you guys have ever watched, how have you been watching? I mean, some of you mentioned out at parties. Are you watching it on your personal TV? Are you out at a restaurant watching it? Just tell me some of the ways that you've been consuming it. We don't have to go around. Just you can shout it out.
Parties.
Stadium.
Stadium.
Ale House.
Yeah.
Your personal
That's the
TV,
same.
Ale House. Okay. So we have several different people watching out at different places. Okay. And then also, some of you mentioned you have kids. Do you clearly you two let your children watch. How about other people with kids? Would you let your kids watch the NFL? Yeah? Is there a general yes consensus? You guys feel like you would let your kids watch it or no?
When I have kids.
Okay. Is there like a certain age that you wouldn't let your kids watch it or a reason why you wouldn't let them watch it?
My nephew's 3 and he watches it. He yells touchdown every time they score. So
No
I don't
problem
think
with
there's
that.
anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it's an opportunity to also talk to them about my position on things. So
Yeah.
I would let them watch it.
So what would make you want to watch more? If you currently watch or if you don't watch? I mean, you mentioned some stuff, but is there anything else that you're like, I need to get this out because this would make me want to watch more? No?
Florida team doing good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if the Bucks were in the Super Bowl, I'd probably tune in and watch.
Didn't Jacksonville do good last year?
Yeah, they made it to the first round.
And some of you mentioned that you have a team that you follow, others do not. I'm assuming I know the answer to this question, but I'm not going to say it. Does the performance of your team affect whether you're going to support watching the NFL or not? Do you want to elaborate? One of you saying yes.
I just think, honestly, I'm not into football at all.
No, it's
so
okay.
Like,
It's okay.
UCF
Your opinion
won
matters.
not too long ago, and everybody went crazy with the hoodies and stuff. So I definitely think keeping the morale is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
I mean, like everybody wanted to be like, well, I watch football now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a
Like,
knight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, to an extent, my team's performance would affect, how often I watch. But really, the only reason that I really wouldn't watch is if my team just lost, almost all games every season after season.
Like the Magic?
Or the Knights the season before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any sport Florida successful?
No.
Celebration does.
Hockey, of all the sports in Florida, that's pretty
At
funny.
least we have something. I just needed to hear something.
Orlando City started, and then they just plummeted. So,
Okay, so as a hypothetical, let's say you guys are going to watch a game. What matters most to you when you're making that decision to watch? Where you're watching, for example, there's a lot of options.
who am I watching it with?
Okay, who you're watching it with?
How much it's going to cost, because I think those kind of sports are most enjoyed if you're actually there personally.
Okay.
Making sure you can actually afford to sit in that seat to watch the sport.
Okay.
Cost prohibitive.
And-
And students.
How about if you're not watching in person? Like if you're going to decide to tune in on TV, what matters most to you? when deciding if you're going to watch or not. Or, I guess, deciding if you are going to watch.
Well, with
on
the Super
TV.
Bowl, it's just about the
Every
commercials
channel.
because the commercials are hilarious. Now you can watch those on YouTube in advance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch.
Anybody else? You said who you're watching with, the commercials if you're watching the Super Bowl. Does your location matter? Yeah?
Just has to be fun and entertaining.
What matters, like, in your location? What do you want?
Like I said, Alehouse is like the only place that I would see a game going on. I was at a buddy's house, but it's not about the game, it's about being there,
Okay.
having a good time in that location.
The atmosphere.
Quiet, people talking,
Okay.
He's serious about it.
You would like to watch alone on your couch. Anybody else? You haven't said much.
I mean, just going on what they said, if I was, I wouldn't just sit down and watch a game. I'd be with my buddies or out.
Okay, awesome. So, I know some of you may have heard about the current NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell. Am I saying that right? I don't know what you know about him. I don't know what you've heard about him. But based on that, do his actions affect whether you're going to be watching or not?
What did he do?
Yeah, what do you do?
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Oh.
You wouldn't affect me. I don't know. I don't care.
The NFL. So it's really just the position of the NFL commissioner. If what they're doing, the decisions that they're making, if that's going to affect you watching.
Yeah, it would, depending on what
Yeah.
decisions they're making, how it changes the sport.
Okay. What would
How
you
you
like to see
entice
from
me.
the commissioner? What's some decisions you'd like him to make, him or her?
Honestly, I don't know. For me personally, what would get me to watch football, because like I said, it's the sport itself that I find boring.
Yeah.
But I mean, for other people, I'm sure that there's something probably that they would like done differently. That if the commissioner causes those changes, they probably would watch the sport. But for me, I don't have anything.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would say you'd have to be passionate. If you was an individual that represented nothing of the values that he's trying to represent to the NFL, then if I were to see that guy and someone would tell me, oh yeah, he's a commissioner, I'd be like, I don't know what's that.
Okay.
So if he was carrying the wrong message with him, that would easily turn away anybody interested or looking to be interested in the NFL.
Okay. You seem to be familiar with.
I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of the same thing.
Do you keep up with anything that's going on with him?
I mean, just the recent thing we hear on the news is like the kneeling, the players kneeling during the national anthem.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really watch that part of the game, I watch the game.
Okay.
I think the players should be able to do whatever they want, Back in the day, you didn't hear about players smoking in the locker room or in the tunnel. It's just all social media now. That's how I feel about it. But no, I don't care about that stuff.
Okay. Anybody else?
I agree. Who cares if like someone is kneeling or standing up or sitting down during the Pledge of Allegiance? Not Pledge of Allegiance, but that in school too when they say you can't. The national anthem in school though when they say like you have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and some people don't, they're like that's wrong. It's like who cares? It's like we live in America. I thought that was like freedom.
Right.
Who cares if someone is like what they're doing?
Okay, so we'll get into the topic of the kneeling because that's been a big one. How do we feel about that? Anybody? You can go either way that just your real opinion about the situation. Go ahead.
I feel like these players are contractually obligated to do what their teams are telling them to do. That's why they're getting paid. I
Okay.
can't show up to work and do whatever I want just because I believe it, because I'll most likely get fired.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with that.
So you feel like the kneeling shouldn't be happening?
Whatever the team tells them to do, that's what they should do.
Okay. Understandable.
I feel like Trump should not be involved in it. It
Okay.
shouldn't be like political involved with the NFL.
Do his comments affect your
No,
views
I
on the
feel like he needs to
NFL?
keep his comments to himself.
Okay.
President of the NFL. So I think what he does or doesn't do is really important, particularly as relates to these things, but everything else, because he is sort of the face of the NFL. I mean, he's in charge, he makes the rules, he tells them what they are contractually required to do or not do, and certainly what the contract says is what they're obligated to do. But I also understand that they have a stage, and they have opinions and stands and positions, and I don't know that something so simple as kneeling during the national anthems should be something that they are not allowed to do. Recognizing that if the contract tells them that they can't, but once again, they have a big stage to make a statement, and we know that people in media, in TV, movies, all of that use their stage, usually for good, but not always for good. So I understand why they might choose to make a statement in that way.
Okay.
Doing it kind of silently, but clearly doing it and getting a lot of attention.
Does the cause behind why ever they're protesting or kneeling, does that affect how you feel about the NFL? No?
No.
Why do you say no?
I don't even know. Go ahead.
I don't have an issue with the cause. I have an issue of how they're doing it. As far as, I mean, they're like they don't have the right to play in the.
With the Me Too movement, if no woman gets up there and says like, this guy did this and this to me because like he's has a bigger voice, like the whole Harvey Weinstein situation, like these things need people to stand up for them, and those that are mad are those people that like feel disrespected by someone kneeling. It's like, so what? Like we have to drive change in America, not stay the same.
Okay. Awesome. So what about the rules and regulations of the NFL affect your decisions to watch or not watch? We've had a lot on this, but there's more you want to add.
I mean, what we've seen is that if the game were actually an hour, we might get another player. If the game was a little more brutal with the rules and regulations, we might get another person to watch it. So yeah, I think that the rules and regulations do matter.
Let's run around the room and gauge if you think there should be more rules and regulations, less rules and regulations, or they're good how they are now.
The rules of the game itself, I like a lot, and I don't really think there's much of anything to change about like the actual rules and regulations of football itself. They enable the game to be fun for the players and fans too. So no, I don't think more or less rules is really necessary.
What about rules and regulations also including like players, behaviors, things like that, beyond just actual football rules?
I don't really think there should be too many on that. Like things like excessive celebration, maybe occasionally, if one player is like ruining the competitive fun of the game for the rest of the players somehow, maybe have some rules to help with that, but no, not really.
Okay.
Doesn't really make a difference to me. I still don't get the game.
Okay.
It's all the same. I would say, I mean, it works now. I guess the only thing that I am so aware of now is all the abuse, basically, but maybe something that will help fix that would be a law would change, but I don't know. Game's fun.
Okay.
I think the safety regulation is a big thing.
Safety.
Personally, I agree with her that a lot of young guys sign up to play football and don't really know what they're getting into as far as injuries go. Personally, I think as long as they know that and they want to run out into the field and hurt themselves so that I'll stay at home and watch it for my entertainment, I think that's fine. But if they want to improve regulation for their safety, I would be behind that.
Okay.
I see no problems with the rules that they have now. I think people are well aware of the risks of playing football, just like people are well aware of the risks of shooting up heroin, but they do it for the fun. So I think as long as football is fun and brings money and fame, teenage boys are going to keep playing it.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I'm always a less is more when it comes to rules and regulations. But any regulation that is designed to improve safety, I would be in favor of.
Okay.
I would say the more you see the NFL go towards like rules with safety, the more you're going to see the rise in other leagues like the XFL that are promoting basically like dirty football, and they've already started to make a push to basically take out the NFL because they feel like that's what people want to see.
So you feel like do you personally feel like the brutality makes you want to watch more or no?
I would say that's why most people watch it, honestly.
I think that would make me watch it. I think if the X football thing were starting, like I would watch it.
It is.
Yeah. Like,
More brutal.
Back to the
Anybody
days of
else
the
feel differently
gladiators.
about the game being more brutal? Would you like to see it be less brutal?
I mean,
Or you think
Less
it's good?
brutal. My son had a torn ACL and all that stuff right there.
Okay.
This is
No.
why gladiator fights were so popular back in the day in Rome. People love seeing their feelings expressed through other people. Like, if they're unhappy with their lives, if they want to get some aggression out, they go watch, like, football, and it's like, they feel better at the end of the day.
Okay.
I've watched sports similar. I don't know what it's called. MMA, but people that are constantly
UFC.
punching each other in the head.
no.
Oh my God.
I can't
Yeah,
watch that
that's-
for so long,
Yeah.
but people enjoy that, and that has a huge crowd. So, I mean, I guess if you're gonna compare apples to apples, football has nothing on that. So, if football gets more aggressive, I don't see why people wouldn't watch it still the same,
Okay.
because there are sports already that aggressive, and that's what it's meant to be. So, I think if it would, it sounds like people would watch it more. And I probably would. That probably would be something that would change it, just because football then would change.
Okay.
But that's,
I would say what you see on ESPN as far as the highlights of a game would be touchdowns and big hits. So, I mean, that's what people want to see.
So do you guys over here have any feelings about more rules and regulations, less? They're good how they
I
are?
agree.
Okay.
For me, rules are fine. I don't see anything really needing to be tweaked in any kind of way for football. I mean, if I were to look at it, rugby is very violent, very up there, and I still wouldn't watch rugby over football. I mean, it's there. It's it's from what I understood even before I heard about the XFL or that kind of. If you wanted to be more violent or more brutal, go play rugby. Go watch rugby, and that's how I always thought the standard was.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not the same sport. I mean, you're not really going to get the same rules and like self-satisfaction as much in
That's true,
football.
yes.
I really don't know enough about the rules that are already in place to say if they should have more or fewer. But in general, I don't think a sport being dangerous is necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. What makes you say that? How do you formulate that?
Kind of what she was touching on with UFC and MMA. I mean, that's the sport. You either win off of points or by a knockout. People go into it and they build their careers knowing that. They probably feel privileged to be in the UFC.
I agree with him, but I know the rest is saying I feel like I should be able to do
I don't know. My son is very aggressive on the field, so they kind of it makes me mad to do it. But it's a part of the game, so I'm just being a mom. But he's very aggressive, so I know that's football, but I don't know. It's too rough. It's for me, for me. But
Okay.
I'm a girl, so I don't know.
speak as a mom, I guess,
Yeah.
too, so that makes it good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Versus a fan watching.
exactly.
So what are your perceptions then, given the rules and regulations, then on how the NFL actually handles player safety in and of itself? Does that matter to you guys, whether the players are safe? I mean, you kind of answered it in the last question in different words, but it sounds like you're saying fewer rules or not fewer rules and regulations, but maybe it's fine how it is, and who cares if it's rough?
Maybe some more follow-up kind of procedures, or like taking care of them after the fact with these issues. As I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. As Cindy highlighted and Richard was touching on as well, maybe these issues when were brought to light, because I didn't even realize about these different type of results that happen, the effects of football. But maybe if there was more kind of something in place to take care of them afterwards, then I would like to see that more come to fruition.
Okay. What about like before the injuries happen? Things like helmet safety. Does that stuff matter to you? Or are you guys just kind of like, I'm watching for the game, I don't care so much about the little ants that are running around on the field?
I care a lot about them.
Okay.
So if there is technology available to keep these young men safe as they can, performing in a sport that not arguably, that they have chosen to perform in, even if they may have felt some pressure from the financial reasons. Yeah, I think the NFL owes it to them.
Okay.
They are rolling. They can spend some of it, and maybe even if it means that they reduce some salaries a little bit. But primarily their own flipping salaries, reduce those, and I want that money to go to cutting edge safety. Okay.
Playing with fire when it's talking about salaries.
I know.
It's not about salaries. Everyone's like, whoa, what's going on here?
I get that, but it's worth it because the life of an NFL player is very short. The effects of that sport, even if they don't even get to the level of NFL, is life-changing.
Okay. Anybody else opinions on player safety, whether it matters to you in your decision to watch or not?
I mean, I think it matters, but I don't think you can have the rules of football, any of them, and not have injuries. It's not possible.
Okay.
So you either have the game or you don't.
Question. So then we sort of know that given the sport, there is a baseline level of injuries that are going to occur. Do you currently feel like it's at baseline, or do you feel like they could be doing more? Like,
I mean, well, we know how football started, and we know where it is now, so we know that there have been improvements in safety. And so I think we just have to continue down that road of always working to improve within the rules of the game that people seem to rather enjoy.
I mean, I would say them having a doctor on the sideline that has to clear you before you can go back on the field. I don't know what else they could do to prevent further injury from that.
Do you think that the NFL's discipline on their players that are messing up in whatever way that may be in their personal lives, you know, the infamous Michael Vick dog fighting, that sort of thing, abuse, whatever it may be, does that affect your decision to watch the personal lives of the players and the stuff that's happening there?
I don't feel like they should make all this money if they beat on women. No.
Okay.
Or fight dogs. No.
So then would you then like to see more action by the NFL to keep these players from doing this, or to punish them after the fact?
No, punish them during the fact. If Ryan's gonna kick my ass, he's going to jail.
Okay.
So I need them to go to jail. Like, you don't get a free pass because you make all these multi-million dollars and you can run a football. Shit, I can do that too. But you can't put your hands on me. No. That's not fair. I don't agree. They need more discipline with them. A lot of them are in football, which I know a lot of younger kids get into football. Their parents put them into football because they have ADHD, they have behavioral problems and things like that. Maybe they need to start, younger, or when they get in the NFL with therapy, some type of stipulation, because a lot of these players do have other issues outside of football going on. So, yeah, don't take it out on the woman or your spouse or whatever it is. Yeah, they need more discipline.
I think a zero tolerance on that, or pretty close to zero tolerance, would cause the NFL to send the message to the players early on, before they even get into the NFL. We know this is a brutal game, and so it takes kind of a brutal person to play it, but that brutality has to be on the field. And you cannot take that brutality into the home. So we're telling you right now, if that's the kind of history you have, you're never coming into the NFL. Or certainly going to have to look at you carefully.
Regardless of things, linebacker, he's killed too many ones.
Yeah.
So does anybody feel like the current discipline system is okay, or?
It is a discipline system. They just get fined. They have to. I mean, they have the money, so they just have to pay.
Just pay the ticket, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right?
saying. Yeah.
We'll pay you while you're writing out the ticket, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that all they get? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's ridiculous.
Self-paid vacation.
Exactly.
It's terminate their contract.
I would like to say that one thing that Marine Corps, my gunner sergeant used to say to us before we were on long weekend little freaks or anything, because he understood like similar mentality, like brutality, like you got to be able to be in the fight always. But he always told us, don't beat your wives, don't kill anybody, don't do anything stupid, don't drink and drive, whatever. Save that for the battlefield, save that for the enemy. And if you were to step out of line, there were serious repercussions. Zero tolerance, as you said. Like, you be thrown to brig, NJP, you lose rank, lose pay, you kiss your career goodbye, the whole 9 yards. And whenever that was into the consideration, there were a lot of Marines that, right before they were about to make that mistake, they saw it and they're like, you know what, this actually might be a bad idea. And they took a second back. So I'm not really familiar with the NFL's regulations or how it is, the fines and whatnot. But if there were more dire consequences, I would think that the NFL players might take a second, look at what they're about to do.
No.
Anybody else?
Are reactive. I think we've got to put in place rules that are proactive.
Okay.
To stop this before it starts. That's all.
I would agree with that. I would say the NFL disciplines the players how it best affects them. So you saw that fest with Ray Rice. He only got suspended 2 games. The video came out. Everyone knew about it now.
Yeah.
So then they kicked him out.
Right.
He told them what he did.
Yeah.
Until they saw it, they didn't do anything. So that's
Or until the potential viewers saw it.
yeah.
I think Mike actually went to prison for it.
He did.
He did.
He
You don't mess with a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
The man beat his wife and did.
You can mess with your wife, but not with the dog.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't press charges.
Apparently the dog did.
United States press
I was
charges
gonna
for
say,
it.
you love a
I
system
mean,
of
she
justice.
stayed married to him, so
Yeah, that's.
Oh, he beat his wife too?
no.
Oh,
Brandeis
another
and
player.
beat his wife.
Okay, so now we're gonna sort of switch gears and talk about referees. Does anybody have anything that word bring up any like, or I need to say this about the referees? They affect your decision to watch. Do you care? They're making bad calls. Is that really upsetting you? And you're like, no, I'm not gonna watch anymore. Whatever.
Particularly in the NFL or in
Yeah,
sport
in the NFL.
They make a lot of money.
They all make a lot of money.
Any other opinions on referees?
Well, I mean, I've only heard people say they're all idiots, but other than that, I'm assuming that that's coming from somebody who doesn't like the call that they make. However, with all of what we have in place with checking, and double checking and looking at all the cameras, you almost can't make a mistake anymore. So I think I can be out there as long as I can run up that field, which you can.
So we talked a little bit about the players kneeling. I want to get back into sort of your feelings on the players expressing their political opinions. I mean, that's been a huge point in the NFL, is that they're expressing themselves on the field and off the field, because they all, of course, have their own brand that, they're allowed to, I guess, represent what they want to say. So does that affect your decision to watch if they're posting stuff about their opinions? Do you guys care? No? No?
Everybody's kind of
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're not on the field, they have every right as every other American to stand for whatever it is they want to stand for. And if the rules allow them to do it on the field, then so be it.
So then the last thing, there's been a little bit of controversy regarding cheerleaders. Does that controversy affect your decision to watch the NFL at all? Anything happening with the cheerleaders?
Controversy being like
Well, their skirts are too short.
It's like
there's been like sexual harassment,
Oh,
Really?
I thought,
that sort of thing.
oh, I thought it was, when they got like into NFL, it's not like more cheering, it's more like sexy dancing. You know, it's like start off when you're younger, it's like cheerleader with the pom poms in high
Right.
school. I'm sorry. It's like seriously, it's like a whole like a dance team or something. I'm sorry.
So,
They're not leading cheers, so I don't know why. Couldn't probably do that. You know, the only people that can lead the cheers are maybe the mascots that run around and get people to do the wave or whatever. But I kind of think it's a little bit sexist. But this is going back to my day when all I was allowed to do in high school was be a cheerleader. I couldn't be out on the field playing any sport before 1974 when they passed the law that allowed women to do that. So I just kind of look at it and go, you know, that's kind of keeping women where they've always been. And I think if they want to be on the field, they should be on the field too.
so does
It's
that
just-
opinion affect your feelings about the NFL?
No, I don't feel great about the NFL. It just makes it worse.
Okay.
I think one with women being on the field, I don't think it should be on the same field as men. I think men and women are different, and they should have women football and men football if they're going to do that. But also, I saw a news article where like the cheerleader for a certain football team, they're not allowed to talk to the players or like date the players or anything like that. And one of these players was trying to like hook up with her, and she got in trouble for it, but he didn't because he's the player. But it's like he was coming on to her. So I believe in that sense, it's like she shouldn't get in trouble for him wanting to be with her. Just because she's the cheerleader and he's the player, I think they should both, well, he should get in trouble and not her. Like those rules of like, you can't hook up with the players, but the players can hook up with you if they want to, like, I think that's wrong. Like, it should be like either you can or you can't on both sides.
So does that give you more of a negative opinion of the NFL and make you want to watch less, or it doesn't really affect it?
I feel like social issues don't factor into whether I watch something or not.
Okay. Okay. So, does anybody have anything else they would like to add about anything that we've discussed? Anything additional about the NFL? No? Okay, we're going to do a quick final exercise. Basically, I have printed out this little thing, and you're just going to fill out what this other guy says in response, and we're going to go over it. So, the first guy says, I'm thinking of watching the big NFL game this Sunday, and you get to decide what the other guy is going to respond with. And hopefully that'll give us some better ideas of some of your opinions. Here, I'll break it.
I might say that these were very good and probing questions.
Oh, thank you.
And I like how everyone
Yeah, you
respected
guys,
each other's opinions.
that's really great.
This is America right here. This is how it's done.
Does
White
everyone
House
have a
America
writing
everywhere.
utensil?
Exactly. It's America here. This is America.
And we will be collecting these papers, so just FYI.
Yes.
Both or just?
You want us to write our name on it?
Maybe we'll collect both of them. You don't need to write your name.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
It doesn't have to be like super serious.
No.
It's been so long since I've seen it. Where are the teams you're rooting for? Like all like
Right now you're playing Russia.
their number one team, not all of them.
Oh, my number one team? Well, my number one team got eliminated.
Who's your number one team?
Germany.
Yeah.
So funny, when Germany was a year ago. Look at what
Yeah.
Look who's still in the
I think
game.
there's a night you just stuck in there.
7-1 is pretty brutal.
Shut up.
How was he talking? Germany was totally like nonchalant about the whole thing. Anybody's talking.
Did you not see all the memes of like the big German
Did you
mob
just hear
coming
the-
down the Brazilian?
You know what Neymar just said
Wait.
about Mexico, right?
That he's not.
Oh, okay.
Is everyone done writing their thing? Okay, do we want to go around and discuss what we all wrote? That wasn't really a question. We're going to go around and discuss what we all wrote. Okay, you want to start us off?
Sure.
I guess start on that side.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You guys can start us off.
Because he really won't start it.
But I'm thinking of watching an NFL game this Sunday. I said, cool, I'm gonna watch Criminal Minds on Netflix.
Okay, nice.
I wrote, cool, what team are you going to cheer for?
Okay,
Which wrote me too.
me too.
My guy says that's cool. I'm gonna bring drinks over.
I wrote, that's cool. Are you a fan? I don't really follow the NFL.
Okay,
That's cool. I'll be there. Go Steelers.
So it
awesome.
really started with that's cool.
Said,
That's really cool.
I think it's just the way that they said it because they weren't really inviting you. They're just like, hey, I'm thinking of watching the NFL game this weekend, and you're just like,
Otherwise, you're about to the
Hi.
Okay.
that's cool. Like, if it was different, it would say, I'm thinking of watching the big NFL game this Sunday. Do you want to come watch it with me? Then it would open up like the question better. But what else are you supposed to say to that? Like, that's cool.
Would you want to come join him if he invited you?
I mean, if he invited me, maybe. But
Maybe.
If
He's
he,
a cool guy.
Yeah, if he just like set up that I'm just thinking.
I don't know.
watching
He's
the
wearing a floating tie. That's pretty baller.
And we don't know if he's wearing pants all the
We definitely are
Have
not.
fun.
guys, put who's playing. I want to see the Patriots.
Are you aware of the number of suffered by the players and the lifetime effect of the injuries? Please just think about it and vote your conscience with your wallet.
No one knows you women watching.
Right.
I put cool. I'll check online who won after the game is over.
Okay.
You should watch the World Cup instead.
All right.
I'll be at the beach sipping on margaritas because clearly I have a drinking problem.
Yes.
I have a necktie for a body, so what the hell? As long as you buy the drinks.
Awesome. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we close this off? No? Well, thank you so much for your participation. I'll collect up your name tags and